is mostly an invitation to just remember these values and to try and ensure their continuation of them as we adapt and change and continue to evolve to survive in our surrounding landscapes.
Tikaan's vision on food is a lot to take in, but it's definitely an insightful and intentional approach to traditional native foods. Alaska Natives are fortunate enough to still have that connection and knowledge of the hunter-gatherer lifestyle, whereas the rest of the agricultural world may or may not have that connection anymore. Our traditional knowledge and connection with the land can help influence future approaches to sustainable food systems. It's definitely something to think about. And to help you digest it all, we have another amazing interview with Leila Smith, who uses her connection to culture and traditional foods to inspire her mobile food truck menu. In addition to her cooking talents, Leila's voice was made for podcast radio. Here, Leila introduces herself and her successful vendor food truck business, Mobile Munchies 907.
My name is Leila Smith. My Yupik name is Awitalga. My family comes from Hooper Bay, but I grew up in Kotzebue and graduated high school in 2003. Hooper Bay is in the southwest Yupik region of Alaska, so I am Yupik. But I did grow up in Inupiaq territory and learned a lot of subsistence and about our diet there. But since then, I've lived in Anchorage since 2004 after high school. I am a mobile food vendor. I own Mobile Munchies 907, and we serve what I like to call Alaskan soul food. We create a lot of food that is mostly food on fried bread. So I make fried bread pizzas. I call them Alaskan pizzas. Alaskan tacos, which is also served on an Alaskan-sized fry bread, and we also make Midnight Sun Phillies. Somebody asked us why we call them Midnight Sun Phillies, and the lady that was working at the window, she was like, 'cause they're served on fry bread. So when it's colder out, we do reindeer stew or salmon chowder, and they come served with fried bread. Yeah, they'll come out when it starts getting a bit crisp outside, early fall.
Before opening her food truck, Leila worked an office job for her native corporation.
It was hard, especially battling like office politics and stuff like that. And sometimes I would wonder if I was happy doing that. And you had to be there 8 to 5 every Monday. So I was like wanting to spend more time with my son and trying to think of ways that I could make money at what I'm naturally good at. So I thought of cooking, like I'd be happy to cook. I'd be happy to cook in my own little spot. And at the time, food trucks were just coming out, and that was like 6 years ago. And I was like, oh my gosh, I could do a food truck. I think I'd be happy doing that. So a couple of years later, I bought a food truck.
Wow.
Didn't even have any kitchen experience. I don't know, maybe I was crazy, but I knew I could make people happy with what I cook.
Managing her own food truck has afforded Leila much more quality time with her family.
Yeah, so I do a lot of work from home. Like, my son goes shopping with me, and we do that every single day. We're always out of something, so he comes shopping with me, and then I go home and we unpack all my food to refrigerate it, and then I prep everything that I need to prep for the next opening. But I do it right at home, and he's there, usually bugging me to go on my phone or watching Netflix or playing in and out of the house. So sometimes he does come on site with me and helps me work. He's 7, so we still got some training to do. I do get to spend more time with him My fiance is a big part of Mobile Munchies as well. He does all the maintenance and helps me get through all of the sticky situations that I get into with that business. But it really helps our family. I have my future stepdaughter. She comes to work for Mobile Munchies, and she's an excellent worker. I love that we get to do this together. It's definitely a good experience and some good trial and error to go through with your family.
It's like you're getting to know them more, you know,
or they're getting to know me at my worst.
Or we
get that fry right out of the fryer. It's gonna burn.
We'll just call it bonding. Do you ever cook so much that you get tired of cooking?
No, not really. I don't. One of my friends' moms, she always said, don't complain about cooking and cleaning because you're always going to have to do it no matter what. It's a never-ending job, so don't even learn to not like it. Just do it. I learned how to cook for my family, and also working with cutting up game and stuff and getting creative with the meat we had in the freezer. So, and that's just something that I just enjoyed, really. I don't feel like I cook too much because I love to cook. Even though I cook for 80 people a day sometimes, or more.
Wow.
When we have leftover, if I make too much dough for an event, we like to fry that up, and we go downtown and pass it out, and we actually get some enjoyment from that, passing it out to the less fortunate, and they really enjoy the fried bread, sometimes the gudak. Yeah, so if we don't like to waste the food, even though we've been cooking lots, sometimes we don't have, or we have leftovers to cook fresh.
I've volunteered once or twice at Beans Cafe. It's really humbling. Serve them lunch and stuff.
Yeah. Some of them really bring a smile to your face.
Yeah.
Or you bring a smile to their face, so you're just smiling at each other, especially because they're so proud of you.
And I was just trying to be a happy person there, just because, somebody could be having a bad day or something, and so I was just smiling the whole time, and then
giving them kindness.
Yeah. And then the lady, she was like, wow, you look like my daughter. And I was like, oh, that's so sweet to just be able to
give someone that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because there's nothing at that point, there's nothing we can do except meet their immediate needs and be nice while you're doing it, and giving from a good heart, because we all could have ended up on that path. It could have happened to any of us, really, especially because of what our culture has been through. So, and all those that are still healing while raising kids.
It's not easy.
We don't come from a place where we can even judge them.
I asked Leila how her upbringing in rural Alaska has influenced her career in the vendor food truck world.
Well, my dad was a big hunter. He was a bush pilot out in Kotzebue, Northwest region. He was not a native man, actually. He was from New York, the Bronx, New York, but he came to fly planes out there, and then he just fell in love with the culture, and he fell in love with the country, and then eventually he fell in love with the hunting, and I was at home hoping he wouldn't catch nothing because I was lazy to cut meat. And he would come home with his limit. So we'd be stuck cutting meat for as long as until it was all packed away, because he didn't want to buy meat from the store. It's so expensive out in rural Alaska. So the best way that we were able to save and get by was by subsistence hunting, and he had a significant other who was and still is passionate about subsistence hunting. So she showed me a lot about cutting up game and staying up until it's all done. And when you have that meat, sometimes you'll have just caribou in your freezer forever. So you got to get really creative if you don't want to just have plain fried caribou and rice. So we do creative things with cooking our meat and with what we had, including like birds and moose and caribou. My dad's significant other was an Inupiaq woman from Kotzebue, so she was able to show us like how to cut seal and hunt seal. She was able to hunt them, so wow. It was nice to be able to learn how to cut that up and dry it up and store it in the Quaq. And also my mom is from Hooper Bay, so we did lots of fry bread, lots of agudak, because one of their main sources of food from the land is berries. They even have berry camps of their own. So we'd spend weeks at berry camp and pick, lots of berries to get through the winter for all the different families in the villages.
Leila explained some of her biggest influences growing up.
So definitely my dad, his spouse that he had when I was in high school, Carmen, she really helped me to learn about how important it is to hunt and gather food. And my mom, she always, everything she ever made, and if she goes in the kitchen, something's good gonna come out. And then there's this cook he's like a master chef. His name is David Chang. He has a show on Netflix.
Oh,
he's
yeah.
just amazing.
Ugly Delicious.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's him. He goes all over the world and he gets in the kitchen and he really shows you some good stuff. And he's not going all healthy on you either. Yeah. He's going all delicious, but it can also be healthy.
From that too, I watched that show. He really likes to connect the culture with the food too. So that's what you get, the backstory, and you get
as well
history.
As Anthony Bourdain.
Yeah,
I was so heartbroken when the news of his passing came up recently.
Me too.
I've grown up for, how long has he been on those shows? Like forever. His voice will just resonate with culture and cooking.
Yeah.
And then there was also Andrew Zimmerman.
Oh, is that the weird?
He goes out and eats like all the craziest foods.
Oh yeah.
What is that called? Bizarre Foods America.
Oh, that's
so he went to Bethel.
No way.
And he tried some of the foods there.
No way.
And it is rumored that this elderly lady there, that he went to her house and did her food, she wasn't happy with him, and somebody asked her, "Are you okay? Did you like," or later on they said, "Did you like Andrew Zimmerman?" And she just kind of was quiet for a while. She kind of was a dainty woman. She put her nose up and she said, "I don't appreciate him calling my food bizarre." And his show is called Bizarre Foods America. So she was.
That's so cute.
Or she said, "My Yupik food. I don't appreciate him calling my Yupik food bizarre."
Oh, that's so great.
So yeah, those guys. Plus, just growing up around those who hunt and gather.
Yeah.
And there's so many from home, like so many with their fish jarring recipes and, how they even dry their meat. That's an art in itself. And there's a lot of people that have done like sausages